They didn't talk straight away. Instead, they lingered in the aftermath of it. The kiss, the words, the shared understanding that something had shifted and could not be put back where it had been. Dante arrived that evening before closing, not early enough to be conspicuous, not late enough to feel deliberate. Evelyn looked up from the counter and smiled, openly this time, without surprise, without hesitation. "You're cutting it close," she said. "I like to live dangerously," he replied. She snorted softly. "That's not what I'd call dangerous." His mouth curved. "You haven't seen me misfile a first edition." She laughed then, properly, and the sound settled something in him that had been restless for days. They talked easily while she finished up, moving around each other with a familiarity that felt earned. She slid books back into place. He leaned against the counter, close enough now that proximity no longer needed to announce itself. When the last customer left, Evelyn turned the sign on the door to closed and locked it. Not dramatically, not pointedly, just naturally. "There," she said. "Now we can talk without being interrupted." He watched her for a moment. "You don't seem nervous." "I am," she replied. "Just not about you." That mattered more than she knew. She poured tea, the small kettle whistling briefly before settling. They carried their mugs to the armchair corner and sat, close enough that her knee brushed his. Neither moved away. "Earlier," she said lightly, "you made it sound very ominous." "I did?" "We need to talk," she repeated, mimicking his tone. "Very grave." A hint of amusement crossed his face. "I was trying to prepare you." "For what?" "For honesty." She met his gaze over the rim of her mug. "You don't strike me as someone who lies much." "No," he agreed. "I avoid instead." "Ah." She nodded. "That figures." They sat in silence for a moment, not awkward, not strained, just quiet. Then Evelyn set her mug down. "All right," she said. "You kissed me. You told me we need to talk. I'm guessing those two things are related." "Yes." She tilted her head. "I don't regret it." "Neither do I." That earned him a small, pleased smile. "Good," she said. "Because I'd hate for this to turn into one of those conversations where someone apologizes for something neither of us wants undone." "It won't." "Then tell me," she said gently. "Whatever it is." He didn't answer immediately. Not because he was afraid, but because this time he wanted to be precise. "There are things about me," Dante said slowly, "that don't fit neatly into the life you see." She nodded. "I've noticed." He let out a quiet breath, not because he needed it, but because she did. "I've lived a long time," he said. Evelyn didn't laugh. She didn't interrupt. She simply listened, as though some part of her had already been waiting for the shape of the truth, even if she didn't yet have the words for it. "Longer than I should have," he continued. "Longer than anyone should." Something shifted in her expression, not disbelief but recognition. A subtle reordering, like furniture moved back into place. "And me?" she asked quietly. He met her eyes. "You've lived before." She didn't speak at once. Evelyn leaned back slightly, fingers laced around her mug, staring at the steam curling upward as though it might organize her thoughts for her. "Lived before," she repeated softly. "Yes." How many times? She asked. Dante hesitated, not to withhold, but to choose honesty without cruelty. Enough that I stopped counting, he said. Her breath left her in a slow exhale, not disbelief, not panic, processing. And you remember all of them, she said. I do. She nodded once, then again, more firmly. That explains a few things. It startled a faint smile out of him. It does? The way you look at me, she said. Like you're not surprised by anything I do. Like you're waiting. For what? For me to catch up. The quiet between them deepened. And this always ends badly? She asked at last. Yes. Not evasive. Not softened. Honest. She absorbed that too. Gaze drifting to the shelves around them. Stories layered on stories, endings stacked neatly beside beginnings. And you keep coming back anyway, she said. Yes. That made her look at him properly. Why? He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he reached out and turned her mug slightly on the table so it wouldn't cool too fast. A small, habitual gesture, intimate in its care. Because leaving never saved you, he said. And staying was the only choice that ever felt real. Her throat tightened. You said before, she murmured, that usually you leave. Yes. And this time? He met her gaze fully now. No restraint. No distance. This time I stayed. Something in her softened, not relief, but resolve. She set her mug down carefully and leaned forward, forearms resting on her knees. Okay, she said. So here's what I know. He listened. You're older than you should be, she continued. You remember lives I don't. You care far more than someone passing through should, and you kissed me like it mattered. It did. She nodded. Good. A pause. So what are you? The room seemed to hold its breath. Dante didn't look away. Her voice was barely above a whisper. Say it. I'm a vampire. The word landed without drama. No thunder, no shadows leaping. Just truth. She stared at him, not backing away, not leaning in, just staring. I'm sorry, she said after a moment. I think I misheard you. Dante didn't move. I'm a vampire, he repeated, quieter this time, not gentler. The word sat wrong in the room. Too large, too unreal. Evelyn let out a short, incredulous laugh. No, that's... She stopped herself, pressed her fingers briefly to her temple. That's not... You don't just say that. I know. You're telling me this like you're saying the weather's changed. I'm trying not to frighten you. Well, congratulations, she said faintly. You've failed. She stood abruptly and crossed the short distance to the window, staring out at the ordinary street beyond it, a bus passing, a couple arguing quietly, life continuing with insulting normality. A vampire, she repeated. Right. She turned back to him, searching his face for performance, for cracks, for delusion. She found none. I don't age, he said slowly. I don't rush. I don't get sick. Her breath caught. And you know what I'm thinking before I do. That startled a sound from him. Not laughter, not amusement. Something closer to pain. Yes. Sometimes. Her voice dropped. And you don't flinch. Ever. Not like someone afraid of being hurt. No. Because you've already lived through it, she whispered. The room tilted, not violently, but unmistakably. This is insane, she said. Except, she swallowed. Except it fits. Dante closed his eyes briefly. I hoped, he said, that it wouldn't. She looked at him sharply. You hoped I wouldn't notice. I hoped, he corrected, that I could leave before you had to. That's not the same thing. No, he agreed. It never is. She returned to the chair slowly and sat, hands braced on her knees like someone steadying themselves through turbulence. So, she said, you're telling me that you've been alive for, what, centuries? Yes. And I keep... Her voice faltered. I keep coming back. Yes. Her laugh this time was breathless, almost hysterical. That's not romantic. That's horrifying. I know. You've watched me die. I've buried you, he said quietly. More than once. That did it. Her composure cracked, not into tears, but into something raw. Why? She demanded. Why would you keep doing that to yourself? Because not loving you never worked, he said, and because leaving never saved you. His voice roughened, centuries of restraint thinning. I have tried silence, distance, absence. Each word cost him. Every time the pattern resumed, you lived, you loved, you died, and I remembered. She stared at him, chest rising too fast now. And you never changed me. No. You could have. Yes. Why didn't you? His answer came immediately, sharp with conviction, worn thin by repetition. Because then your life would never end, he said. I didn't choose this. I won't condemn you to it. The pain in his voice startled her more than the confession itself. You hate this, she realized. I endure it, he corrected. Because I must. She sat with that, with him. And now? She asked softly. Now, he said, meeting her gaze with unflinching honesty. I've stayed too long. I've told you the truth. And I don't know how to leave without breaking something that matters. Her breath steadied. She reached for his hand, hesitated, then took it. Then don't, she said. He looked at her as though she'd just offered him something impossible. Evelyn, I'm not saying I understand everything, she said. I don't. I'm still catching up. She squeezed his hand once, grounding herself, him. But whatever this is, it explains too much to be madness. He didn't pull away. Dante looked at her as though she'd offered him something impossible. For the first time in centuries, Dante allowed himself to imagine a future that ended, and found that the thought no longer frightened him.